I'd like to go over kind of some changes that can take place in the plans, but also the repercussions of those changes, and kind of explaining more extensive changes versus more minor changes. So here on the screen you notice this is a basement of a house that I've drawn up. We've got this nice big beam going across there and this column holding it up. And so in a floor plan view, it looks pretty simple. You just notice this one little column, and if someone were to ask, hey, can you just pull that beam and column out? We can, but I'd like to explain what needs to take place in order for that to happen. So here's a 3D view of that, and I could understand why somebody would want it pulled out so that way the whole room feels much more opened, giving you a lot more space to where you could rearrange the furniture however you want. And this guy kind of gives you a bit of a feel for how big this is. And currently we've got a 9-foot tall basement, which is pretty tall. It'd really end up being about 8 feet once you get the ductwork in there, which is still pretty good. But let me show you what would have to take place in order to remove this beam and column. So here in the floor plan, we've got a distance of a little over 24 feet from one wall to the other. And then here to the center column, if we measure that, we've got 14 feet on one side and 10 feet on the other side. The reason why this is important is because here, this is a cut section as if we were cutting through the house. This is the floor joist here, going across, and it's bearing on the foundation walls. And then here you've got that beam and that column. So currently, this is what we call a web joist, or a TJI. And we've got a chart for those. So those joists, they look a lot like this from the side, or cutting through them. But down here we've got a span chart. As you notice, in this span chart, it has a lot of different distances. These distances indicate how far a TJI can span without having a load-bearing wall underneath it or beam of some sort. Currently I've got a 9.5-inch TJI in there. And so the furthest that can span, so if you have them spaced 16 inches on center, then that can span 16 feet. So let's come back and take a look at what we've got. So with that beam and column in here, we're at 14 foot 2. So that 9.5-inch TJI would work just fine. But if we get rid of this, then we're at 24 feet. So let's come back to the span chart. And if we need to span 24 feet, we can do it with an 11 7/8-inch TJI. Those have to be spaced 12 inches on center. The closer you have the TJIs spaced together, the more you will need, and then the more your cost will go up. In addition to changing the height, in order to keep the basement headroom the same, you need to have your basement be 2 inches lower than it was before. If the floor joists are changing for the entire floor, if we lower that 2 inches, then the stairs will then have to change as well. And so if you notice on our pricing, it varies a little bit depending on when the change is made. If this kind of change is made early on in the design process, before we really have anything drawn up, then it's pretty easy. So if you look here at this section here, this is of the stairs. I haven't done anything to this, and so if I'm to change the stairs right now, it'd be pretty quick and easy. But if I had gone through and measured all these stairs to tell the contractor the height of the risers and the depth of the treads, if I had already done all that, then I would have to change all of that as well. I'd also have to fix all the other details that I had done in there. So that's one of the reasons why the price varies depending on when in the process these changes are made. But also when we say you're allotted a few minor changes, something like that may not be so minor, where the repercussions can affect a lot of different things. But a few things that aren't very difficult to change, let me show you here. So if we have this house here, if you wanted a window to be a different size, say you didn't want this to be a 4 foot by 4 foot window, you want that size changed, that would be easily accommodated. Same thing with doors. When we go into a floor plan view, if you wanted a door to swing a different direction, or if you wanted it to be a pocket door instead of a swing door, kind of like you see here, those are all pretty easily accommodated. And so I hope this better helps you understand that when we start moving walls around, particularly in basements, that the effects of that can affect a lot of different aspects of your house. And if you have any questions, feel free to either leave a comment here, or you can click on this link on the left of your screen to contact us to ask more further questions.